Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is a deep analysis of, well, a political phenomenon, really, the strategic and very rapid nationalization of Gavin Newsom. We're diving into a whole stack of sources, detailed timelines, political strategy memos, all of it focused on one thing.
Right, and that's understanding how a term-limited governor is engineering a national presidential campaign years before the race even officially begins.
Exactly.
And that strategic analysis is really the critical piece here. I mean, you look at the timeline, Newsom's term limited in 2026. He can't run for governor again.
So he has to be looking ahead.
He has to. So the central question the sources make us ask is this. How do you orchestrate a highly visible, multi-year national campaign for 2028 without officially running? Or, without suffering from that early burnout we see so often?
Yeah.
Our sources, they reveal what they call the long horizon strategy. It's a slow, deliberate, really a 2.5-year process.
All designed to build up that national legitimacy.
And make his eventual announcement feel, well, inevitable.
Okay, let's unpack this. We should start where the sources tell us he started, which is not at the bottom.
Not at all. Born in 1967, his political lineage is deep. He's the son of a California Superior Court judge.
He gets his political science degree in 1989, and almost immediately, he's launching the Plumpjack Group winery.
And with some very significant investment from the billionaire Gordon Getty.
Right.
And the sources really make a point of highlighting this. They observe he had, and this is a quote, deep political ties from birth, and was getting money from billionaires even at age 22.
So he was born into the California Democratic machine.
Which gives him a huge advantage. He has deep funding, established connections that, they don't rely on just campaign donations.
Exactly. And those connections, they delivered speed. In 1997, at just 29 years old, he gets appointed to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors by Mayor Willie Brown,
who the sources specifically label a DNC insider.
So this wasn't some slow grassroots climb.
No, it was a fast-track, high-level introduction. Then it's 7 years as the youngest mayor of San Francisco, 2 terms as lieutenant governor, and then finally governor in 2018. The sources aren't painting a picture of a reformer.
No, it's a picture of relentless upward mobility, all deeply rooted in the establishment.
And that's the biography that this long horizon strategy really leverages. It screams experience.
It's the whole foundation.
It is. Crucial context for the national stage.
So let's get into that first phase. Part 1, the pre-launch strategy. This is 2023 into early 2024. This is where we see these non-traditional moves begin.
All designed to normalize his face on the national stage, long before anyone's thinking of him as a presidential contender.
And the timing is so calculated.
Chiley. The analysis shows his national positioning started way back in mid-2023. That early start was specifically to avoid looking rushed or opportunistic later on.
That makes sense. If you start in 2023, it looks like you're just governing, right? Responding to national issues.
Exactly. If he waits until late 2025, it looks like a panic move.
Yeah. And the most surprising move that sources point to is how he used opposition media. I mean, we're talking about his rare appearances on Fox News. There was that debate with Sean Hannity on June 27th, 2023. And the sources flag this, and they say, and I quote, "He never goes on Fox."
And then that high-profile debate with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, November 30th, 2023.
Strategically held in Georgia. Why Georgia?
Well, that's the tell, isn't it? Placing the debate in a swing state like Georgia, not California, not Florida, it's a clear sign the audience wasn't his state base.
It was the national electorate.
It was. And if you connect this to the political landscape at the time, the sources reveal a pretty blunt context. The analysis claims this was all about hedging his bets and building national recognition in case Biden died early on.
That is a huge claim. I mean, was that really a common conversation, though?
According to this analysis, absolutely.
Yeah.
They noted it was a major conversation in political circles in 2023, even though they also mentioned there was this DNC revisionism later that tried to deny the conversation even happened until, well, mid-2024.
So this was proactive preparation.
Masking 2028 ambition as 2024 readiness. He had to be ready.
So he establishes himself as a national figure, a capable debater. Then we move into part 2, navigating controversy and shifting focus. This is late 2024, early 2025.
And this is where the sources claim he started building some political distance.
Okay.
In late 2024, the analysis says Newsom campaigned hard for Joe Biden, but they add he campaigned less hard for Kamala.
Interesting.
And the source material gets very specific here. It references claims that Newsom actually ghosted her phone calls about the VP slot, and this is according to Kamala herself.
So he's creating space from a potential primary rival.
That's the read. And this happens right alongside a big defeat for him back home in California.
Right. November 2024, the defeat on Prop 37.
Correct. And this was a measure that, according to the sources, repudiated his soft-on-crime policies, and it reversed key parts of Prop 47.
Which he championed a decade earlier as lieutenant governor.
Yes. So for listeners who don't follow California ballot measures, Prop 47 had downgraded a lot of drug and theft offenses to misdemeanors.
Which led to all those accusations of him being soft on crime.
And the defeat of his countermeasure, Prop 36, combined with the success of Prop 37, it meant a huge chunk of the California electorate, including moderate Democrats, rejected his stance on criminal justice.
It's a black eye on his record. So how does a policy failure like that fit into the long horizons strategy?
Well, this is the genius of what the analysis calls the outsmarting the news cycle strategy.
Okay.
Because he wasn't an official candidate, the Prop 37 failure becomes a contained state issue. It can be allowed to fade into the memory hole.
He just ghosts the controversy.
He lets the state news cycle absorb the failure, and then he pivots immediately to a much more aggressive national stance.
And that pivot, as detailed by the sources, is the Trump-proofing strategy. This is December 2024 through February 2025.
And it is a colossal statement with a $50 million price tag.
Funded by taxpayers.
Yes. Newsom signs a $50 million litigation fund. It's dedicated exclusively to battling the incoming Trump administration. Half for the state DOJ, half for local legal services.
Including immigration defense lawyers.
Explicitly.
And the sources are, well, pretty blunt about this. They call it public taxpayer money being used to launch his 2028 campaign.
Yeah, is the interpretation. By making California the official legal resistance, he cements himself as the national Democratic foil. It's visible, it's proactive, and it doesn't cost his campaign a dime.
Which leads us directly to part 3, the 2025 faux moderate pivot. After spending $50 million to fund the opposition, the sources say he makes this calculated turn toward bipartisanship. How do you square those two things?
Strategic ambiguity. The $50 million funds the fight for the progressive base. The moderate moves capture the attention of the swing voter.
So on January 12, 2025, he uses the LA wildfires to insistently invite Trump to visit California.
Which the sources label as faux moderate bipartisan get national spotlight. And they point out, presidents don't visit every single local disaster. The invitation was all about the optics of responsible, cross-aisle governance. Look tough on policy, but civil on manners.
And this was reinforced by his content strategy. March 6, 2025, he launches his podcast, This is Gavin Newsom.
But the first guest is the key, conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Which is a choice.
It's a huge calculation. The discussion was completely tailored. He's talking to Kirk about how to secure the youth vote for Democrats. He's broadcasting a message to the middle. I engage with people I disagree with.
And here's where it gets really interesting. During that podcast, the sources track a policy shift. Newsom actually walks back his full-throated support for some progressive transgender policies. He states that certain rules were becoming unfair to women. That is a very specific, calculated shift.
Oh, it is. And it's aimed squarely at suburban swing voters, especially women in those crucial Midwestern states where the progressive California brand often fails.
The signal.
It's a signal that he can acknowledge nuance. He's trying to soften that California progressive label that his opponents will absolutely use against him.
And as 2025 goes on, this image overhaul continues. By mid-year, the sources point to a dual social media approach.
Yeah, the dual track. The sources were very candid about this. They noted his team started what one source called a shitposting campaign on Twitter.
Using aggressive AI edits of Trump to fire up the base.
Exactly. And at the same time, his team is pushing out a glowing piece from Business Insider on his life, which the source noted for its clear favoritism, attack and elevate simultaneously.
Which brings us to part 4. The aggressive late 2025 campaign moves. This is where the ambiguity starts to drop away.
Especially after the political landscape shifts regarding the incumbent VP.
Right. So by July 8th, the source analysis notes that after the realization that, quote, Kamala was dead in the polls, Newsom spends 2 days touring South Carolina, an early primary state.
And the official reason was for the midterms, which were still 14 months away.
But the sources are clear. This was, quote, in reality, trying to build name recognition.
It's a classic move for a declared candidate. And what stands out to you is how quickly he dropped the pretense once that internal primary calculus changed. He saw an opening, and the long strategy allowed him to just seize it.
And the pretense was fully gone by August 2025. He effectively confirms the campaign by retweeting, Gavin Newsom 2028 flags with gratitude.
Yeah, the source analysis was pretty colorful there, saying this was, quote, effectively confirming campaign for the mentally slow who didn't get it by now.
But it wasn't just messaging. It was also about brand identity.
Yes, and it's crucial to see the parallel PR moves. This is when those photos of him in high school looking like a male model get released.
And they're juxtaposed against, well, more awkward photos of a potential opponent like J.D. Vance.
I mean, it's wild, isn't it? A serious candidate strategy now includes coordinating high school glamour shots. The sources suggest it's just pure, calculated superficiality.
Positioning him as the modern, aspirational brand.
Exactly. Image warfare. And that continued into late September. He goes full national statesman. 5 days in New York for Climate Week, meeting foreign leaders.
All designed to make him look ready for federal office.
He synchronized this with national media, too. On September 24th, he's on Stephen Colbert, framing himself as a guardian of democracy.
The source calls this his clear, direct pitch time for 2028.
Every move is synchronized. And this all leads us to what the sources highlight as his single most aggressive, high-stakes political move of the entire timeline. Part 5, the gerrymandering push.
Prop 50.
Prop 50. And this really raises a fundamental question. What kind of maneuver requires a governor to use his state power to shift the entire national landscape?
So what's the play here?
The sources point to his push, starting in early September 2025, to dissolve California's independent anti-gerrymandering commission.
The commission created to stop politicians from drawing districts for partisan gain. He's trying to dismantle it.
Via a ballot measure, Prop 50, set for a special election on November 4th, 2025.
But why now? The sources noted he could have tried this any time since 2019.
The timing was strategic. He waited for a, quote, lapse in DNC leadership, and a period when the national media focus was elsewhere to make this really difficult move. It signals an unparalleled focus on raw power.
And the cost is staggering.
It's an alleged $282 million taxpayer expense for a single ballot measure.
I mean, spending nearly $300 million on a one-issue special election, that primarily benefits your own party.
It signals a dangerous prioritization of ambition over fiscal responsibility. And the reason it's so costly is there's no shared cost with other races. LA County alone is looking at 45 to 50 million.
And the sources use a crucial comparison point here.
Yes. They remind us that the huge 2021 recall election cost $276 million.
So he's spending more than that on Prop 50.
A measure to gut a popular commission. It just shows that his support in California is far from united, despite what you might read elsewhere.
So if Prop 50 passes, what's the impact?
Well, it makes him pro-gerrymandering, and it would shift an estimated 5 congressional seats to the Democrats.
And the sources detail the mechanism for that. He's leveraging labor and teachers' unions who he's been bribing with protection for years, and now he's calling in the debt.
But nationally, the 5-seat gain is likely, and I quote, net nothing.
How so?
Because Texas and Missouri have already gerrymandered to gain a combined 6 Republican seats. The significance isn't the number, it's the optics.
It's the fact that Newsom is the sitting governor playing a direct aggressive role.
Exactly. If he faces someone like J.D. Vance in 2028, who, as a former congressman, had no direct role in gerrymandering, Newsom's vulnerability with independents on this is massive. It just confirms the whole political machine narrative.
So that brings us to part 6, the long-term strategy synthesis. Looking at the whole timeline, what are the successful elements of this long horizon plan?
The main thing is what the sources call the drip fees strategy. By starting way back in 2023, things like debating DeSantis could be framed as just governance, not ambition.
That early normalization is key. It's designed to build immunity to fatigue, which sank so many other candidates.
Exactly. This phased approach avoids the saturation that ended the campaigns of flash-in-the-pan candidates like Beto O'Rourke or Pete Buttigieg.
Right.
Newsom drip feeds his visibility instead.
Yeah.
2023-24 is culture war debates. 2025 is the moderate statesman pivot. And then 2026 and beyond, he becomes the experienced alternative.
So the ultimate goal is that when he announces, probably mid-2026, it doesn't feel manufactured. It feels like the next step in a long, consistent trajectory.
Making Gavin 2028 look inevitable. It is a masterclass in timeline control.
Using the years before the election to build a seemingly bulletproof biography.
He's using time as his greatest weapon. He's placing these controversies and policy shifts years in advance so that by the time the actual primary starts, The electorate is already familiar with him.
They accept him as a national fixture. And as we conclude this deep dive, we have to mention the final, really provocative detail from the source material. It speaks to why this long horizon strategy is so vital for him.
It does. Numerically speaking, the sources claim Newsom, quote, likely has as many scandals as Donald Trump.
And, quote, far more scandals than his opponents in a 2027 primary for the 2028 election.
And that statistic is the whole point of the long horizon. The strategy is designed to build such overwhelming legitimacy, that sense of experience and inevitability, that it preemptively neutralizes those attacks.
So the inevitable attack ads on his scandals just fall flat.
Making Gavin 2028 feel like a done deal before the knives even fully come out.
We've just traced a 2.5-year path built on calculated confrontations, strategic shifts, and managing controversies like Prop 37. All of it engineered to make his political biography feel legitimate, not manufactured.
And that really leaves you with an important thought to consider as you process all this. Given how successfully Newsom has used time and high-stakes moves like that aggressive $282 million Prop 50 push to control his narrative, what does this model suggest about the future of political campaigning? Which national figure do you think is best positioned to run a similarly slow-cooked campaign without burning out? We'll let you mull that over. Thanks for diving in with us.